Welcome to the second battle between Nightingale playing as Pergamon and GioD playing as Egypt. GioD has taken 5 of these chosen native pikemen. They're a little bit deeper than the Pergamese version, however inferior. But we could say it's equal among these pikemen if GioD only needs to pin the Pergamese pikemen down. There's 2 Judean Tirosui spearmen. They're more armored than the normal variant of Tirusi, and they have a disciplined trait. So the general will not, it doesn't matter if the general dies, these men will not be affected. But ideally, you don't want your general to be killed in the first place. So then on this flank, we can see he has 4 Plurox Falksmen. They have armor piercing ability, a good charge, bonus versus elephants, bonus versus cavalry, and 2 bonus versus infantry. So I guess infantry, their attack is 11. But they only have a melee defense of 9 and their armor is very low. In the center, he has 3 units of Ptolemaic swordsmen. Now these men have armor, they have a good defense. And I guess infantry would be 11 in attack. So that's very good. GioD also have a 1 unit of thorax swordsmen, so either he was planning to have this unit as a defensive yeah, this unit is a single one of its kind. He probably either wanted that as a special reserve. Once things got worn down, he could send it in. But what GioD has really invested his troops in are in these royal squadrons. Now, these men have very good charge and a good boner versus infantry. Against infantry, their attack is 16. So first they charge in and then they do their damage in the aftermath. But ideally, you want shock cavalry to be moving regardless. But they have 6 speed, so they're slower than lighter cavalry. But they will definitely win if it actually comes to blows. GioD has his elephants way in the rear. I'm sorry, GioD has 1 unit of Judean Drosi spearmen and 1 unit of Klurox spearmen. Now these spearmen fight naked, or almost naked. They're showing their abs, bit less armor, but what I can read from GioD's army is that he is saying to himself, I don't need to have lots of spear to guard against cavalry. All I need to do is to lock down the enemy spearmen in a fight. Then I can use my superior cavalry and smash into them. And then I can get some infantry to support me if I need to. I guess that's why he has these 4 units of Klurox Falksmen, because these men are better suited to fight against spearmen. And the Tirusi spearmen are almost a must-take in any Hellenistic faction. So I guess that was his line of thinking, and these Ptolemaic swordsmen are much better than the Tirusi swordsmen of Pergamon. And here in the center, he only needs to hold down the Pergamese pikemen. So I think that was his line of thinking, but I'm not. He can feel free to comment on. Feel free to comment on what your thoughts of your battle plan. Every player in the is allowed to do so. You know, I won't remove comments if they're completely wrong or. And I think that this unit was sort of like a tactical reserve, a heavily armored unit that he can rely on, that will hold for longer, will survive longer, and over time do more damage. Because most of these troops, they have like 8 armor here and 15 armor here, so having a unit with 35 armor could be an advantage. Let's look at the Pergamese army of Nightingale. Now Nightingale decided to take revenge on GioD, so he got himself a Scorpio as well. And this will zone out the Egyptian cavalry, and He also have a Rhodian slinger, so this will also help him against cavalry and also a bit longer range against elephants. He has 2 units of normal archers, nothing spectacular in terms of armor, they will die, but they give him more missiles to shoot at elephants at. So 2 units that can shoot against cavalry, these Scorpio and these Rhodians. And then he also have archers, so he can deal with elephants. So he has lots of firepower here. He came prepared for the elephants. 5 pikemen, they're a must take. And you notice that he has angled his pikemen a little bit. This is to deny flanking infantry, flanking fire. Because they probably fought their battles like one after another. And they sort of saw the devastating effect of javelins to the flank of pikemen. So he's trying to prevent that from happening again. I can also see here, I think 2 Thureosi swordsmen. I think it's 2 he has, yes. Yes, 1 Thureosi spearman and 1 Galatian spearman in a reserve. Now these Galatian spearmen are aggressive infantry. Definitely going to use them to create a breach. And as cavalry, he has some Tarentine cavalry. These men may be lighter than the Egyptian cavalry, but they're faster. So if the Egyptian cavalry is not close nearby its infantry, these men may be able to get a hammer and anvil going. They can definitely avoid engagements with the Egyptian cavalry when they don't want to fight it. Now this Egyptian general has a scare ability. So now GioD did switch up his general ability. So now it's the same as Nightingale's. And Nightingale also has 1 unit dedicated to protect his Oxybelus. This is a Thureosi spear unit. Could be moved to either side to help where it's needed. Where the elephants decide to go. I would definitely say that GioD did not count, he forgot about the Oxybelus. And this is going to make him a bit hesitant in what to do with his cavalry, as his cavalry is expensive and are vulnerable. Once GioD gets within this range, there can't really be any hesitation on what he wants to do. I see these Clerks Volksmen are coming into the side. I see 3 Ptolemaic swordsmen here in the center. It would have been more beneficial to be more at the side. If you're gonna push aside, let you get throw from this side into this. Because then you hit down shielded side. And for Pergamon, he wants to also hit from this side, sideways. Like these archers will give Pergamon an advantage. The Oxybelus is moving up here, sooning up even more cavalry. But GioD is also keeping his distance with his cavalry. But now the Oxybelus is still going to shoot this Thorax swordsman, this heavy infantry that were going to be an advantage for Egypt in a long-term fight. It's now going to take damage. Pergamese pikemen already formed up to a phalanx. These Clorok spearmen are shooting now at these Thureosi swordsmen from Pergamon, and the spearmen of Pergamon are now preparing themselves for a fight. These men are not on fire at will. They can definitely shoot at this native pike unit. These men should hurl at this unit. But GioD is targeting the archers here for Pergamon. He wants to reduce the threat of elephants. The Tiriosi swordsmen are now charging here. GioD is going wide with his cavalry to avoid the Tiriosi, these Oxybelus. This GioD is going to the flank here. These Judeans are charging here. These Tiriosi. Yeah, he probably realized that he needed his cavalry here, spears on the side of these swordsmen. Definitely charge in. Ideally, these Ptolemaic swordsmen are better suited to attack these Tiriosi swordsmen. These Chlorok swordsmen are supposed to fight against these spearmen because they have armor piercing ability, so it's better for them to fight armored targets. The Egyptians are moving in here with their Chlorok swordsmen. We managed to get into this unit. Maybe it didn't be able to hurl all its javelins. And now these Thorax swordsmen, they're needed to charge in because they're not getting any value of their units. This Oxybelus is just gonna keep firing. There's a spear unit here, but there's a gap here that can be exploited by a single Tarentine cavalry unit. And then just smash the pipeline of Egypt. Egypt do have archers if he feels he can spare the ammunition, because the elephants are very far away. So he can shoot at this unit, for example. This unit is already losing to this Galatian mercenary spearmen, and this gap is now coming in with cavalry here against these two sword units of Egypt. And now maybe I pop a scare on one of these infantry units, and he's put it on the Volksmen units here. They will break. And this Thorax swordsmen were heavily armored are now also breaking, and this unit is also wavering. So all of a sudden this situation has changed for GioD. He no longer has any supporting infantry on this side. The cavalry is on its way, but it's only 2 units of cavalry that are slower versus 2 units of lighter cavalry that could potentially catch it, and with spear support. But GioD, he's readjusting his lines here, so you can tell that he's experienced. He's going to save the units he is able to save. These spearmen here are just charging in here. But these Tiriosi swordsmen have 4 speed, so are able to catch up to these Galatians, and then these spearmen will just get hammered. Oxybelus is still here, and it's targeting the Egyptian general. These elephants are just charging in. Yeah, these men are gonna get shattered. Now it's just about for the Pergamese to hold against the elephants and send more troops. This general is taking lots of damage, and if he dies, it will demoralize the Egyptian infantry. This pike unit could be turned to fight the sides here. The Tarentine cavalry is here in the rear, just hovering. It can definitely strike these. It forces Egypt to commit 1 unit for flank protection, but this isn't much of a flank protection, as it can definitely sneak around and hit these pikemen. Egyptian pikemen are now moved to the side here. They're fighting a non-pike phalanx. This is a pike unit that are not formed, but since Pergamon does have flanking ongoing over here, it's okay for them. They charge in here the Tarentine cavalry to charge these tired infantry of Egypt. Another swords unit is coming in here, but they're facing the Galatians. This Judean Tirosi are here on the side. And now this sword infantry is also isolated here on the flanks. All of a sudden the support infantry of Egypt is collapsing. Its cavalry was too far away, it wasn't really used. These elephants have only 8 kills. 6 cavalry and 8 cavalry over there. Now this cavalry can just, with that general ability, he can just pop scare here. Tarentine cavalry is just moving away. Then this will allow him to simply shatter routing infantry cavalry units. Judean Tirusi are now routing. The swordsmen are now routing. But the Pergamese Egyptian pikemen do seem to be a little better. Maybe it's because the Pergamese pikemen got into the attack against these Egyptians and the Egyptians got the first charge. However, the support infantry is on its way. But these heavy, expensive royal squadrons, they are taking heavy losses here. And once they got into fight, these Tarentine cavalry will just hold them down in the melee, and then spears will come in support. Royal squadrons are coming in here. He's trying to get the Pergamese general, but he's just keeping his distance. The Egyptian general, however, got charged here by the Tarentines, whilst he was heavily damaged from the Scorpio. There we go, 6 the speed. And all of a sudden this Egyptian general is going to die. Yeah, GioD must be really angry at this Oxybelis. This unit must die, no matter what. Yeah, now the support infantry is just turning around. GioD turns his pikemen to face these supporting infantry, but it means that these pikemen can simply push into these Egyptians for no penalty. And okay, now there's back to back because there's some elephants in the rear. He's trying to catch these elephants. That's quite a high weapon damage there. Surprised that these elephants haven't died, given all the missile fire that has been okay, now they're starting to die here. Yeah, Nightingale is using flaming shots to break these Egyptian infantry better. These Egyptian elephants should be shattered very soon. But it's probably over before that they will come back. The Tirosi swordsmen here have been done really well. 347 kills. They're using spear here, but the Egyptian army losses will cost the rout. And these Egyptian elephants are apparently still alive. But they were not cost effective in this battle at all. So 3 and now the single elephant against the entire Pergamonese army. There it goes. Now, good defense by Nightingale here. I think GioD mainly got confounded by the Oxybelus here. That caught him off guard, and he didn't really know how to counter it. His mindset was that he only needed to occupy the Tirusi's spears here with the Falksmen. These men have armor-piercing weapons, so they will do better against the Tirusi. And then these Botonic Mega Swordsmen will butcher the Tirusi swordsmen. But then when the Oxybelus come there, he had to keep his cavalry back because this cavalry is very expensive. It is also slower. Because this cavalry is also very expensive, he had to downgrade his infantry in order to afford them. And this swordsman unit was not worth the money. It only got 2 kills, and it cost 1,400. What would have been better would have been to gotten himself some Peltas pikemen. Sometimes the best plan is to have a very simple plan. A very obvious plan, because yes, these men would have been shot at, but you also got yourself some Peltas, and these men can be useful to create a breach that you can use. Keep the cavalry away for starts, just to keep them away from the Oxybelus. You can have your elephants closer, make a breach with the Peltas. You can then try to exploit it. These swordsmen are still better than the Tirusi swordsmen. These Judean Tirusioi can protect the flanks of the Peltas pikemen, keeping them safe. Because these Peltas pikemen will beat any sword and spear unit in front of them, as long as you have the short pike activated. So yeah, that's the simple plan, is to keep the enemy pikemen at bay with your own pikemen, but not actually fight them. Then go around, push with 2 of these Peltas pikemen, try to protect your shielded side, or you make it so that enemy missiles shoot at your shielded side for protection. Then you can have Peltas to help support these men, or to make a breach somewhere else. Then Judean Tirusi to protect the flanks of these men and support your cavalry. And then you can attrition the enemy with the Ptolemaic swordsmen. And then you can charge in. Once you have a clean charge, then you can go all in with the cavalry. Just occupy the enemy spears first, and it would have been a little bit more even, because these Royal Peltas pikemen would have grinded down the support infantry of Pergamon, and it would have given Egypt a clear advantage. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Bye.